In a lively village in Ghana, a young girl named Abena faced a turning point in her life. After completing her exams, she celebrated with her best friend Essie, but Abena felt trapped. Essie received an acceptance letter to university while Abena's future seemed bleak. Abena's parents pressured her to marry Kofi, a wealthy widower from their village. Desperate for change, Abena decided to move to Accra to stay with Essie's uncle. Upon arriving in the bustling city, Abena sensed something was wrong in Essie's home. Essie revealed a shocking truth. They were trapped in a human trafficking ring. Abena vowed to escape this nightmare and help herself and Essie find freedom. Once, in a vibrant village nestled in the heart of Ghana, there lived a girl named Abena, a determined 17-year-old who had just completed her exams. She was overjoyed to discover that her hard work had truly paid off. Her best friend, Essie, also excelled in her studies, and together they celebrated this significant milestone in their lives. Abena felt immense gratitude toward Essie, knowing that she was always there to support her through her struggles and hardships. However, Abena held a heavy heart, feeling as though her future was bleak within the confines of their village. Unlike Essie, who seemed destined for greatness with her acceptance into the prestigious University of Ghana, Abena felt trapped in a cycle of despair. With a burning desire to help her friend Abena, a determined young woman resolved to assist Essie in navigating her university entrance exams, knowing that Essie had someone willing to train her. Meanwhile, there was a widower in the village named Kofi, known for his traditional attire and imposing presence. Kofi had expressed a keen interest in marrying Abena. Despite the unsettling rumors surrounding him, Abena's parents dismissed these tales, insisting that Kofi was a good match for their daughter. They urged Abena to accept his proposal, believing that marrying Kofi would alleviate their financial burdens and bring prosperity to the family. As preparations for the wedding commenced, Kofi generously sent money for Abena's clothing and other wedding necessities. Abena, a young woman in her 20s, was perplexed by how a man in their village could possess such wealth, and she couldn't help but question Kofi's desperation to marry her. Yet her parents convinced her that this was the best option for their family's financial stability. With a heavy heart, Abena called Essie to share the news of her impending marriage. Essie, who had just received her admission to study law at the University of Ghana in Accra, encouraged Abena not to lose hope. Abena spoke through tears, expressing her uncertainty about her decision. Essie suggested that Abena come to Accra and stay with her uncle, a promising idea that filled Abena with a flicker of hope. Eager to escape her predetermined fate, Abena, a determined young woman, sought her uncle's approval. When Essie, her supportive aunt, confirmed that he welcomed her with open arms, Abena felt a rush of joy and gratitude. Determined to seize this opportunity, she packed her belongings and left her village behind, embarking on a new chapter of her life. Upon arriving in Accra, Abena was greeted by Essie, who looked radiant in her colourful attire. The bustling city overwhelmed Abena. The sights, sounds and energy were unlike anything she had experienced before in her village. However, as she settled into Essie's home, she noticed some unsettling things. The compound where Essie lived was filled with an unusual atmosphere, and Abena sensed something was not quite right. When Abena inquired about Essie's uncle and his wife, Essie hesitated, dodging her questions. As Abena observed men frequently coming and going from the compound, she felt uneasy, especially when she stumbled upon used condoms discarded on the ground. Out of concern, Abena confronted Essie, who finally revealed a shocking truth. She had become ensnared in a human trafficking ring through a man she met online. Essie explained that she was trapped in the compound until she could repay a debt, and even the police were complicit in the operation. Devastated by this revelation, Abena suggested they seek help from Essie's uncle, but Essie dismissed the idea, emphasizing that he was just a bus conductor with nothing to offer. Despite her despair, Abena remained determined not to succumb to the dark fate that surrounded them. As days passed, the pressure mounted. The girls in the compound, angered by Abena's refusal to participate in their illicit activities, threatened Essie, demanding she stop providing Abena with food and support. Their hostility deepened Abena's sense of isolation and fear, leading her to confront Essie about her apparent indifference. Meanwhile, the situation escalated further when Area Father, the compound's notorious manager, confronted Abena. He questioned her presence and accused her of being a troublemaker. Filled with dread, Abena remembered Easy's warning not to attract his attention. Abena quickly fabricated a story, claiming she had come to see Easy. An Area Father summoned her friend. When Easy arrived, Abena could see the fear etched across her face. As she greeted Area Father, she was met with an unexpected slap that sent her reeling. Easy fell to her knees, pleading for mercy, but Area Father was unyielding. He snatched Abena's belongings and attempted to touch her, but she recoiled in horror. With a chilling command, he ordered his men to take Abena to his office, disregarding her cries for help. Abena, a young girl facing ridicule, felt the laughter of the girls in the compound pierce her heart, their lack of empathy hurting her more than any physical wound. In the cold office of Area Father, he demanded to know her name, his tone devoid of any compassion, as he decreed that she would work for him. "God forbid!" Abena shouted defiantly, her spirit refusing to be broken, but her resistance was met with a brutal slap that silenced her. Under threat, Area Father ordered his men to bring a register and pointed a gun at her, coercing her to write her name and sign a contract for a debt of 10 million cedis. Overwhelmed by despair, Abena collapsed to the ground, crying out in anguish, "How am I supposed to owe you 10 million cedis? God will punish you." Abena's desperate cries for justice echoed in vain as Area Father arranged for her confinement within the compound, setting the stage for her initiation into a grim new existence. As days passed, the weight of her situation sank in deeper. Abena understood that her body was now merely a pawn in a cruel game, with the initiation ceremony marking an irreversible turning point. Each attempt she made to resist was met with brutal force and intimidation, leaving her psychologically tormented and isolated. One fateful night, Abena was subjected to an ordeal so harrowing that it shattered her spirit, leaving her to grapple with the aftermath of her suffering. Afterward, Abena was left feeling hollow and broken, mourning the loss of her dignity and dreams. Essie, who had been complicit in this nightmare, rushed in to offer her hollow apologies, but Abena couldn't bear to face her. As Abena struggled to cope with the trauma, another girl in the compound warned her that Area Father had connections that reached far beyond their world. The girls were trapped, caught in a cycle of exploitation and cruelty. The promise of money lured them into a dark abyss from which they could not escape. Days turned into weeks, and Abena found herself ensnared in the web of despair. Abena, a young woman trapped by her circumstances, felt the weight of fear as she contemplated returning to her village and marrying Kofi. She longed for freedom, yet the thought of her impending fate felt like shackles binding her to this new life. One day, while sitting in her room, Abena overheard other girls discussing a plan to sneak out for the night to meet wealthy clients. Panic surged through Abena as she considered the dangers that lay ahead for them. As the girls hurried to prepare for their escape, Abena knew she couldn't remain silent any longer. She urged them to reconsider their plan, reminding them of the risks they would face if they went through with it. Abena, a determined young woman, voiced her concerns, but her words fell on deaf ears, dismissed as fear-mongering by those around her. Amidst the chaos, Abena recognized the opportunity to escape and confided in her friend Issy about her plan, urging her to join. However, Issy hesitated, her fear of the repercussions holding her back from joining Abena on this dangerous journey. With a heavy heart, Abena made the decision to leave alone, knowing she had to act swiftly. Under the cover of darkness, she slipped out of the compound and ran through the night, fueled by desperation and a flicker of hope. She could not return to her village, but perhaps there was a chance for a better life elsewhere. As dawn broke, Abena, a determined young woman, reached a bustling market filled with people and life. She felt an overwhelming sense of freedom wash over her, though her heart ached for her friend Essie. With every step, she hoped to find a way out of this nightmare. Days passed, and Abena met a kind-hearted stranger named Kwame. He was a young man with dreams of his own, and he listened intently as Abena shared her harrowing story. Moved by her resilience, Kwame vowed to help her find her way to safety. Together, they devised a plan to escape the clutches of area father and the trafficking ring. Kwame introduced Abena to a network of safe houses around the city, offering her a chance to regain her freedom and begin anew. With Kwame's support, Abena took the courageous step to report her experiences to the authorities. The sting operation that followed led to the rescue of many girls trapped in the same nightmare, including Isi. Abena's bravery sparked hope in the hearts of those who had lost it. As the dust settled and justice was served, Abena found herself on a path to healing. Abena enrolled in a local university, determined to reclaim her life and make a difference for others who had faced similar trials. Years later, Abena stood before a crowd, sharing her story as a beacon of hope and resilience. She had transformed her pain into purpose, advocating for the rights of women and girls everywhere. In a world that tried to silence her, Abena's voice resonated louder than ever, a testament to the strength of the human spirit. With every word, she inspired others to rise against the odds, proving that no matter how dark the night, the dawn would always follow. Abena's journey stands as a powerful testament to resilience, illustrating how one can rise from despair. Her story serves as a reminder that with courage and determination, anything is possible.